Okay, good morning, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. I hope you and your families are well in these hard times. Um, so, what I prepare is something called Karate API testing. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andres. I'm working from Montevideo. I've been in Oktana for almost 2 years now, and most of this time I've been working for Salesforce Philanthropy Cloud, um, a really big team, which is building an application that allows companies to to bring philanthropy to the next level. It's kind of adding a software layer to the philanthropy, so people in different companies can donate time, volunteering, or money to different causes. So I'm helping this team with UI automation, and that's what I do. But today, let's talk about this. And the plan is to talk in the other way. I will talk first a little bit about testing in general, also about after that the importance of APIs, and after that some details and examples of Karate. So, do you guys hear me okay? Well, I assume that everything is fine. Testing and QA, quality assurance. Okay, thank you. Um, this guy is Michael Bolton, an important guy in testing community worldwide, and I like this quote: "Testers get out of the quality assurance business," and he has some good arguments about it. Uh, we as testers, we don't have control over schedule, budget, blah blah blah, programming, staffing, product scope, all the stuff that are related to the success of a product, of a project. So, can we really assure the quality of a product? I don't think so. I agree with him, and this is not something to fight about, but I think that words matter, and if we as testers help the community to better understand our job, it's also a matter of what people expect from a tester, and it's not you're not less important for being a tester instead of a QA. It's a great job. So I wanted to clarify this. I'm always trying to talk with people about how it's important to talk about testing and not quality assurance. By the way, I want to mention uh, two goals that I have about this chat with you. One is that it's useful for you in some way, and the other thing is I hope you guys have some curiosity about some of the things I'm talking about. So I put many links here. So for example, this is Michael Bolton page, kind of oldish, but here is this discussion about what I what was mentioned. I'm sure that he will explain it better than me. So if you want to take a look, to follow him in Twitter or in his page, whatever. The same for other guys we will be talking about. Let's go in on testing strategy. Uh, why this is important? Because many times we have to deal with how to test, not just writing test cases, filing bugs, and that's it. Many times we are part of a team and we are the person with this quality sensitivity, or responsibility, right? So we have to deal with the test plan, with testing approach, how to do things. So strategy is important. This guy, Mycon, is the one who, I think, in this book, which by the way I didn't read, he talked about the testing pyramid, which I think it's a cool thing. Even if you don't agree completely with it, it's a good starting point to think about testing strategy. So when we talk about automation, we're not just talking about user interface automation. Um, so he proposes this kind of schema of this pyramid where the most part of the automated testing should be done in the base with unit tests. Um, and maybe one risk is that a tester takes a look, okay, what coverage do we have from unit tests? And what we don't cover with unit tests, okay, let's automate it. And this automated is UI automation. So he talks about this layer here as the forgotten layer. What about the services working in behind the scenes? What about the APIs? So he proposes this that okay, let's build this next level with API testing, service testing, and as this is important and this is related with the Karate API testing, I want to bring it up and talk about a little bit about it. So some arguments about it. As we go up in the pyramid, the cost of develop and maintainment is greater, is bigger. Also, execution time and the possibility of find false negatives. So these are some reasons to build this structure this way. Okay, let's invest most of the time and most of the tests in the base. Let's work a lot in the backend, services, APIs, and let's give some tests less time, less resources to the UI automation and the functional testing. So I found while I was looking for this, so links. Well, this is you can follow them if you want. I found a couple of critics about this, and one is from Joe Colantonio. This is a cool guy. Has the Test Guild website with many resources. Actually, some of the demo I prepared for today is based on his site and his own testing of karate. Uh, and he says it shouldn't be about the cost of the tests, but the risk, the kind of risk that you're finding. And something related to this is also here. Um, the coverage and the end user business relevance. Where is in this part of the pyramid or is in the base? Could unit tests guarantee the business logic functionality? So it's something to think about. And the other quote that I like is again Bolton saying, "Hey guys, there is no such thing as automated testing." Um, Kind of funny one, but I mean, he says there's no automated programming or automated management. There are tools that help us to do the testing, and nothing can substitute a person dealing with an application. So um, again, words matter, and maybe we should take a little care about when we talk or when we think about automation testing. If I have all the tests automated, okay, we are fine. We have our coverage, and we can go to sleep. And he also talks about the unknown unknowns. What things we don't know, we don't know. And these in these sections of the application is where the the risk lives. So yeah, a couple of things to think about different about the testing pyramid. But anyway, it helps. It's a tool to help us thinking about strategy. Couple of links. This is also important, and how testing relates with this software development life cycle. Um, that's why I put this kind of oldish image here with a maybe traditional um, life cycle from requirements, blah blah blah. Um, from some time now, I've been listening more and more about this shift left concept. It's not a new thing, but maybe these two words together are maybe new. Um, how can we move testing to the left in the life cycle? Let me put an example here. In our team in Philanthropy Cloud, we are rebuilding the teams. Many people going to Word.com, mega team, things like that. So our new project manager is talking about processes, things like that, and he was talking about the groomings meetings, and he says it's important that a QE person uh, takes part of these meetings because we before the any story goes to ready for development, we need to know how we're going to test this story. So it's just a small example of the importance of have testing in all the stages of the development cycle. Also, what about requirements? What about people making good questions about the requirements, about the design? Uh, we are moving to something like preventing bugs and not only finding bugs. So that's a cool thing. Why I mentioned this here? Because it's kind of spatial visualization of testing, because here we're trying to move it left and here we're trying to move it down, and maybe it's related. Maybe if you move it down here, you're also in some way are moving left in the life cycle. And the other thing that it's important and is related with this is the CI/CD stuff, all this DevOps culture, where all the teams are working in small sections of the code, delivering every day or every week, and small releases every time the code is ready to go in production, and all these DevOps pipelines and things working all the time to have everything ready. This is also important, and I have a couple of good questions, good examples about it. Uh, we see testing here after commit, trigger, build, notify build, and yeah, let's run the tests. But which tests? Maybe we have a set of, I don't know, 500 tests, 1000 tests. Okay, let's run all the tests here, and if everything passes, okay, we can go on. Can we have a more clever approach about it? And maybe, actually, yesterday we've been talking about test rail in my team and how mobile team has been working about it. And what are they doing? Not only them, but it's a good example. They are prioritizing the test. This is usual, not a new thing. You have some critical tests, some high importance, medium, and low importance tests, and you don't need to run all the tests all the time. And why? Because it's a matter of time and resources. If some team is waiting for build, you cannot tell them, hey, wait a couple of hours until I run all my tests. Maybe that's not acceptable. But what if we run in an early stage just our critical tests? Uh, and this is up to the team. You can decide which is critical and which is not, which is high priority, medium, low, blah, blah, blah. And it's a good thing to have a good set of tests running in each stage. Um, for example, my team, you cannot merge anything. Well, when you create a pull request, automatically the operations teams create a rule that triggers many tests, some static security tests, but also a pool of backend tests. And there is where API testing and Karate is goes. My team, my teammates that are working on backend, I'm not doing that, but they work with Karate, and they have a pool of tests that run every time someone creates a pull request. All the tests, or another pool of tests is running when you merge. Every time you update a branch, this set of tests is passing. So um, I think it's a clever decision to think about, again, strategy, which test we will run in all the stages. And as we go left, it's easier to include backend tests because are lightweight, are going behind the scenes, verifying which is going on with the services, with the API. So I think it's very important also visualize this in this way. Let's move on. This is just to talk a little bit about the importance of APIs. Um, I don't have to talk about it. It's obvious, but we are seeing more and more how companies are moving to microservices architectures. So this make us deal with the control connectivity. Uh, and thinking about that, I remember this funny thing about which is his name, Greg Schott, the former CEO of MuleSoft. Actually, this is taken from MuleSoft page, and this is from Dreamforce 18.
Question I always get is, okay, so if you've got these great, well-defined APIs that are sitting on top of things, can't those APIs just start automatically communicating with each other? Can't that just happen? Like, why do we need anything to do it? And I heard this joke one time. Two APIs walk into a bar. That's the joke. The APIs, that's the only joke, I promise. The APIs can't just talk to each other. You have
Okay, APIs can't talk to each other automatically. We cannot assume that things are going fine behind the scenes just because we have a good set of unit tests. So yeah, this is also this funny, stupid thing about unit tests and integration tests. Well, we cannot assume that if a piece of application, a piece of code is working, it works well with the other parts of the application. So testing APIs, testing services is more and more important each day. So let's move on. And here is when I try to sell karate to you guys. Uh, Now, really, I don't work with karate, but as I've been investigating it, I think it's really a cool stuff. This is Peter Thomas. He's working for Intuit, and he is the responsible for karate, the most important collaborator. And well, let's take a look at some of the good stuff about karate. It's free open source. It's language neutral. It's suitable for non-programmers because of this simplicity, elegant DSL syntax. It's built on Cucumber, so you can use BDD syntax. Integrates well with existing CI/CD. Again, CI/CD, shift left, DevOps culture. And let's take a look at an example. this is actually a test in karate, and look how readable it is, how simple it is. Maybe you cannot know very much about, I don't know, API testing or something, but you can read this and understand it. Given that URL and that request with name Billy, when I use the post method, I expect 201. And also, I want that my response matches with not null ID and name Billy. So let's take a quick look. JSON is native to the syntax. No JSON complexity here. You don't have to deal with processing JSON. This is done behind the scenes. Um, this is just simple HTTP stuff. You are assertion against the payload here. Match response. You assert with this, and this is very cool stuff. You can do a second test, a second assertion using the actual response data. So super cool and super simple. Another couple of very cool examples. Quick look at their site. This is the example we've been reviewing, and well, very well organized. If you want to know about assertions, I mean, pretty cool. And also demos. You can go to demos here, have examples. It's really cool. Some other features, I found those watching one of the videos I put here, and well, it's a readable test, and the guy said something that it was interesting to me. The test, if you want to document your API, you can create a test in Karate, and this works as the documentation because it's very readable, very simple. So also as the test need to pass, and if they don't pass, you have to update them. You always have your documentation up to date. You are doing two works in one. So this stuff that the test works as the documentation of the API, I think is super cool. Well, we already talked about this. Karate takes care about complexity, JSON, and this is great. I didn't try that, but you can use your Karate tests to run them in Gatling. Gatling is that performance testing tool, and if this is true and this works fine, it's awesome. Um, Karate provides you really great reports, very detailed Karate reports and also Gatling reports. When you're working with Gatling, Gatling has awesome dashboards, awesome reports about how your application is performing. So this is uh, this is very cool. I'm used to see in our Slack channel in QE team when some manager or some guy says, "Hey, this is failing. Who can take a look?" And he pastes a karate report URL, and you go there, you can investigate. We will take a look. I don't want to show the real ones from a project because of the NDA, but we will take a look at how reports looks. Well, and this is also great. You can do data-driven testing, running tests from tables, not just hard coding only what value, but you can run the test against a table of values. That's great, and this is awesome too. If you don't have the server, the HTTP server ready, you can mock it with Karate. This server implements your API and you can test it. So I think that's also great. You can see Gatling over here. or you can, if you, I mean, having both words, I mean, API testing and performance in living together and sharing tests, I think it's great. Okay, let's move on. Karate reports. A quick look about a quick view. This is a report, very detailed. Here we have a failure. So if you click here, you will see many details. Um, you can see here a detail, not of a failure, but a test. It's really cool. If you want to troubleshoot, you need to debug tests that are failing. It's really powerful. Let's move on. Some arguments about karate. This is just a comparison taken from Peter Thomas chat about karate, but there's a more exhaustive one which has many. Sorry, I wanted to show you this. If you want to compare more in detail differences between karate and resasher, look at this. So I'm not a specialist about karate, but it sounds very convincing to me. So I want to show you a small demo. Again, this is based on Joe Colantonio's site. He has the same demo in his sites, and I tried it and it's cool. I will use Jenkins. Now that I mentioned Jenkins, um, actually in our project we use Jenkins for continuous integration. So all that uh, testing that I mentioned about backend tests running periodically, running each build, it's organized in Jenkins. But now I will use it as an API because Jenkins provides an API. So that's what I will use. Let me show you. I have, this is my Jenkins, which is running. I have this AFP project job here, an empty job, but it's there. And this is how the API looks. Let's, okay, yeah. Over here is my job. We could have many, but I have this. So a couple of things about karate tests. One file dot feature is actual a test file, right? You can have many tests inside the file, but this is the way you name it. To run it, I will be using Eclipse. You need this empty class, and the cool thing is that that runner class will run all the feature files that you have in the package, and we will see it in a minute. That is good to organize which test you want to run in each moment or in each stage. Um, so let's go to Eclipse. Okay, let's take a look. I have this feature file here. This is my scenario, and okay, given this URL, my JSON, sorry, my Jenkins API URL, when I use the method get, I want to have this 200. So let's see what happens. Here I have my Jenkins empty class used to run the test. So here it is. You see this verify Jenkins, which is my test here. And you also see that it runs this, which is another feature file that is pre-built with the archetype when you create the environment and import the archetype from Karate. So with one just run, we are running actually two tests, not just one. Let's add now this line. I want that the response, and now I am asserting the whole response contains the jobs. In all the jobs, I want to find my FPA1 project. So let's save again. Here. And there it is. Super good thing. This is very simple, but I wanted to show you this. Look at this log. Maybe it sounds familiar to you because it's just this API that you have here, this Jenkins API that you are seeing it here. Here's my AEF P1 project. So very cool, very detailed, and everything. This is the other test, which we will not pay attention to. So that's a very simple example, maybe a very simple one, but what I liked about it is you can go from 0 to maybe not 100, but you can actually do real testing in just not too much time. I spent some time installing Maven, installing in Java in this box, and I had everything running in, I don't know, 1 hour or so. It's very simple, and I love how this looks. I mean, anyone can understand this and can deal with this kind of syntax. Maybe not the most powerful tool for some specific things, but it's really cool. So okay, I think that's what I have for you guys. So if you have any question, we can investigate together.